Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out over at patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. You can also find this in podcast form wherever you get your podcast. Just search Packers Total Access. We are live on YouTube, X, Rumble, Facebook, somewhere on Facebook. I always say that. You guys think I'm joking. It's out there somewhere, Tim. I still don't know where it's located, but we are broadcasting live on Facebook, probably in China somewhere, and we have no clue about it, right?
Hey, Facebook, that's the wild, wild west of Packer talk right there.
You would never think, like, when I think Facebook, I think of people that are like, I hate to use the word boomer, you know what I mean? But like people that are 50 years and older, right? Like, like my dad's on Facebook, believe it or not, right? But, occasionally, you got my mother-in-law's on Facebook. I've got all my wife's, siblings, everybody like that. Man, when you get to the sports groups on Facebook, it is
sick.
Bro, it is so much worse than Twitter. Like, holy cow. So yeah, you guys be wary if you tread those Facebook waters when it comes to Packers talk. But here's what we got on tap today, you guys. I'm gonna kind of set the stage, all right? At 1:30 p.m. Central Time, we're gonna go live while the combine is happening. All right. And what we're gonna do is give you real-time updates. It's going to be kind of a combine watch party, and we're going to wait until 1:30 Central so we can get a little bit of information in, and we're not just kind of waiting for everything to drop. We'll already have a lot to talk about, as I think today, Tim, if I remember correctly, let me throw this up real quick. Today, we are going to have the bench press for the DBs and the tight ends who are going to participate in that. And then you're going to have the on-field workouts and measurements for the running backs, quarterbacks, and wideouts. Rubber's about to meet the road. So we'll be bringing you guys that in real time. We'll talk about what the DBs and tight ends have done here with the bench press and whatnot. I'm excited to see what the tight ends do at bench press. So anyway, we're going to do that in real time, live streaming, kind of a watch party for the combine later today. Now, what we got on tap this morning, we're going to talk about the tight end combine and RASs that are already in the bank. We can kind of let you guys know which tight ends are rising up boards, which ones are falling. We'll also dive into the safeties a little bit. Now, listen, I completely understand safety is not a need for the Packers, right? We all agree. However, if you have a stud that falls in your lap, you can bet your sweet rear end that our boy Brian Gutekunst is going to nab him up if the value is so great. And man, those safeties really showed out yesterday running the 40-yard dash. So we're going to talk about all that. And then if we have time, we're going to look at an updated version of our draft board. All right. And again, you can find the draft board over at patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. It's one of the perks of being a member over there. So that's what's on tap this morning. Tim, is there anything at the forefront of your mind you'd like to mention before we start to dive into the tight end information? Anything at all? I know you've been keeping up with the combine real close this year. It's been a lot of fun. Kind of diving into everything. What do you think, man?
Just watching the replays of our DBs, running the gauntlet, running the 40s yesterday. That's about it, man. No, let's do it. Tight end class, we were talking about it might be a little thin, but you never know. We might find some gems this year.
Yeah, absolutely. 2-0 for this says, when do the long snappers go? That's a great question. When do the long snappers go? Don't think we're going to have many RASs for the long snappers there. 2-0 for this. So apologizing in advance there, sir. All right, let's jump into the tight ends. And we like to start with the 40 time. Listen, the 40, it's not that the 40 is, the tell-all or, be-all, end-all to measurements, but we do know that scouts take this very, very, very serious. It tracks, overall speed. You can track the 10-yard split with the acceleration out of the gate. You can track foot speed. How quick someone runs a 40 is typically a pretty good indicator of how quick their feet could potentially be. It may not be that they have the technique to have quick feet, whether it's in and out of breaks or, pass blocking, pass block sets and all that. But it's kind of the foundation for, all right, we know he's got the foot speed to do it. Now, can we teach him the technical aspect, right? So it's very, very important. Now, when we're looking at tight ends, Kenyon Sadiq ran away with the freaking show here, Tim. I mean, this dude, it was him for me personally. It was him and Eli Stowers that really showed out, and no surprise there. They're the top tight ends in the draft. Last I checked, like we've got on our board here. Where are you at, sir? Eli Stowers is in the 51 spot, right? And then we've got our boy, because I know he rose on the board. I'm almost positive. Where's our guy at here? Goodness gracious, Emilio ain't in here to guide me through.
You talking about Sadiq?
Yeah, Sadiq.
I've got PFF pulled up, but not our board right now.
Let me see here. I'm eager to see. Okay, there he is right in front of my freaking face. All right. Yeah. So Sadiq is actually in the number 18 spot right now. Okay. And we haven't put his RAS in yet. Just so you guys know, on our board, we have now updated defensive line and linebacker RAS cards. So and there's a lot of them that are incomplete, but you're going to see some with those bonuses that's going to help them, obviously, throughout the process. So Kenyon Sadiq, though, stole the show. 4.39 40 out of Oregon, blazing speed. And the number
flash.
Dude, crazy. And the size too. We'll talk RAS in a second, but his size is just through the roof as well. RJ Maryland, 4.51. Eli Stowers checking in at 4.51. Solid there from Stowers. Jaron Kanak, however you say the name, 4.52. Kind of a surprise there out of Oklahoma. Matthew Hibner, 4.57. John Michael Gillenborg, 4.60. Marlon Klein, 4.61. You got Dallin Bentley, 4.62. Jack Andres, 4.62. Eli Raridan, 4.62. I'm hearing he's rising up boards. And you guys know I'm a Notre Dame fan. I did not see Eli Raridan. I'm going to try to think how I could say this. It could have been how Notre Dame's offense was geared last year. I was a little disappointed in Eli Raridan. I thought he would be a lot more involved in Mike Denbrock's offense at Notre Dame. And it just seemed like you never could get it going. You never could stay fluid with Eli Raridan. So the fact that he's coming out with the combine numbers and skyrocketing, I'm telling you, that's a guy who's going to be on a lot of radars, a lot of draft boards for NFL.
He's a big dog too, man. 6'7", 250.
Yeah,
that's a big boy.
Eli Raridan to me is a good balanced tight end. Like I remember the talk about him, the buzz around him at Notre Dame was, hey, this guy can run block and he can catch the ball. Like he's going to be a passing threat and he can run block. So when you think of, okay, you don't just see him as a flex tight end, the fact that he can run block and then you run a 4.62, all right, now we're talking. So we'll see how that shakes out. It's over. We got Bauer Sharp, if I'm saying that right, Bayer maybe, 4.63. Josh Cuevas, 4.65. Riley Nowakowski out of Indiana, 4.66. My boy Tanner Koziel. Now, I got to say, NFL.com, I don't think we've got the proper picture there for Tanner. That does not look like Tanner to me. I could be wrong, Tim, but
I don't think that's him.
Let's clean it up, NFL.com. That's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
A picture of Xavier McKinney? What's going on?
It's like my buddy Vince that played for the Patriots. And listen, I know there's going to be people that are very race sensitive, but what we're talking about is they have a darker complected gentleman as Tanner Koziel. And just get your stuff together, NFL.com. 4.70 for him. Sam Roush, 4.70. Khalil Dinkins, 4.72. Will Kakmarak, 4.74 out of Ohio State. And then Miles Kitselman, 4.90. We talked about Miles Kitselman. It's going to be a late round or undrafted free agent, most likely. He's one of those guys who's got strong leadership skills. He's not a crazy receiving threat by no stretch of the imagination, but he can block, right, as Emilio would say. So Miles Kitselman is a guy that I think somebody's going to get a good blocking tight end very late in the draft, most likely. And again, the 40 time kind of hurt him a bit. So that's the 40 times for the tight ends. Let's go now to the 10-yard split, who's quick off the jump here, right out of the gate. Of course,
Mr. Sadiq again.
Yeah, 1.54, right? Just a well-rounded 40-yard dash. You got Jack Andres, 1.59. Eli Stowers, 1.59. So all those checking the boxes. 1.60 for John Michael Gillenborg, and then 1.60 for Eli. So there you're seeing good burst off the line, right? Even though the 40 maybe left a little bit to be desired, but still a 4.6 is a strong 40 as well. And I want to point out Tanner Koziel is one that he didn't measure that great in speed, but boy, in the gauntlet and everything, he looked really good. And you guys know that's kind of my draft crush this year. When you see these 40 times for Tanner Koziel, and then of course the 10-yard split with 1.62, you think, okay, is his RAS going to be in the 6s, 7s, right? He actually finished really high. We'll talk about that here in a second. So that's just to name another one there. And then when we get to the vertical jump, Tim, this just got silly with Eli Stowers, man. 45.5-inch vertical for Eli Stowers. That is insane. Like 43.5 for Kenyon Sadiq is insane. But 45.5 inches for Eli Stowers. Somebody's going to get a dog in Stowers.
Yeah. I mean, anybody that big north of 40-inch vert is crazy.
Yeah. And again, Eli Stowers is one of those guys that he was the go-to target for Diego Pavia. Now, whether you like Diego Pavia as a person or not, I get it. There's a lot of it's a very, very – people either love him or they hate him. It seems like there's nothing in between. But, man, that was his safety valve at Vandy. And Diego Pavia ended up being a Heisman finalist at Vanderbilt, right? Eli Stowers is one of the main reasons he ended up being a Heisman finalist. So somebody's going to get a great tight end there, I think, as well. Now, what's crazy is from 45.5 inches down to Eli Stowers, and then it drops just 2 inches to Kenyon Sadiq, which is still a great vertical there at 43.5. It drops all the way down to 38.5 after that, which is wild. Matthew Hibner, 37. Tanner Koziel is a 36.5-inch vertical. I can't stop laughing just knowing they got the picture wrong. Jack Andres, 36 inches flat. Will Kakmarek at 36 flat. Trying to see Eli Raridan, obviously not as much of a vertical there at 36 inches as some of the other guys. Miles Kitselman, not horrible, 34.5 inches, right? So that's your vertical jump there. And again, that's going to help judge explosion. When we go to the broad jump, surprise, surprise, Eli Stowers, 11'3", Kenyon Sadiq, 11'1". Eli Stowers' explosion grade, Tim, is going to be off the charts, dude. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
so,
that's insane. I mean, you can see why he was such a big target last year.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Quick off the line, huge frame, big ups. Diego Pavia, I'm sure several times just looked up and said, F it, Stowers down there somewhere, right?
When you're barely seeing over the right tackle, right? You got to just
Exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly. John Michael Gillenbohr, 10'8", Sam Roush, 10'6", Eli Raridan, 10'3". So some good explosion there, and good explosion there from Tanner Koziel as well at 10'2". Nothing like Eli Stowers, though. That's just crazy, man. I mean, unless I'm reading this wrong, guys, Eli Stowers had 1 foot 1 inches more of a broad jump than over half of the tight ends that did the broad jump. That's just insane. So his stock is absolutely through the roof. Again, we're going to get into the bench press today. Now, let's switch gears real quick, and I want to jump back to I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to hop over to the RAS real quick for the tight ends. I think I've got the right one pulled up here. Actually, I do not. So what we want to do is just give you the score. We're not going to dive into the actual cards, okay, because for time purposes here. But I want to give everybody an idea of who had the best RAS score. It may be a little bit hard to read, and I apologize for any ads that fly up here. I'm going to try to keep them closed out. But again,
we'll just put Mr. RAS's profile pic up on the screen real quick. Block those ads out.
Exactly. No, listen, the ads are going to fly. There's nothing we could do about it. So I love the ads because we can always find out what Mandy's shopping for. Like she uses multiple accounts of mine, so you'll see all kinds of stuff pop up for shopping.
You must get a lot of Packer Pro Shop banners showing up.
Dude, this is a true story. My wife has spent more money at the Packer Pro Shop than I have. That's a fact. Like
you got a real one, Clay. That's
bro.
You married the right one.
See, you got to understand how she operates them. She does that so she then can in turn buy whatever she wants. It's like, oh, look, I got you this, I got you that. I got you some custom Air Force Ones, Clayton. Oh, you're awesome, babe. What are these 6 packages on the porch? Right? That's how she operates. It's chess, not checkers. So anyway, there we go. Let's talk about these RAS. Sam Roush, surprisingly, 993 out of Stanford, leading the way. John Michael Gillenborg, 992, and a lot of this is because of the measurables, right, guys? Eli Raridan, 981 out of Notre Dame. I'm telling you, he's going to rocket up boards, dude. It's going to happen. Houston, Tanner Koziel. You seen the 40 time, you think, oh man, he kind of hurt himself. No, 972. Measured everything, checked out really, really nice for Tanner Koziel. Matthew Hibner, 956. Eli Stowers, 947. Kenyon Sadiq, 944. Dallin Bentley, 917. Will Kakmarek, 914. Bauer Sharp, 909. And then Marlon Klein, 9 flat. You've got Jack Andres, 865. You've got RJ Maryland, 858. And then you're getting in the 7s with Riley Nowakowski at 797, Jaron Kanak 790, Khalil Dinkins, you got at 783, Josh Cuevas 756, and Miles Kitselman, no surprise, 583 is where he's going to land. I'm telling you, this guy's going to be a late round undrafted free agent somebody's going to have as their fourth tight end that can block his ass off. That's probably going to happen. So,
hopefully it might be the Packers. I mean,
it could be.
Wouldn't mind a blocking tight end, you know?
And that's the thing, too, when you're looking at this stuff, Tim, like there's a spot for a tight end, right? Like we don't know if we're going to re-sign Luke Musgrave. I think we all agree we want to re-sign Tucker Kraft. I mean, that's a no-brainer, correct? So when you kind of look at everything at the tight end position, let's say Tucker Kraft goes down with an injury. I hate to even think about it, but if he goes down with an injury, that means Luke Musgrave's tight end 1, and the thought of him being your run blocking tight end, your actual Y, we've seen it last year.
The hell out of me.
Yeah. And that wasn't the case last year, right, Tim? Like he wasn't, they actually used the third stringer, right? Whoever it may be, Josh Wiley or whoever, to be more of the blocking tight end because that's just not his game, right? Now, if you
Musgrave has improved, right? To an extent. Like, I mean, you look at the way he blocked, rookie year. I mean, he has gotten better, but yeah, he's not a blocking tight end for sure.
And he's not worthy of what a normal second round pick, what kind of contract extension they get, right? So it's going to be another one of those we're having a conversation where he's walking in free agency, unless if the Packers go to him early and say, hey, and they get a very, very, very team-friendly deal because they go to him early, I'm okay with keeping Musgrave on the roster for the right price. But anything over $3 million per, I just haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. And maybe he'll shut me up this year and it happens. Maybe he blows up. I don't know. But I don't know. It's just kind of how I see it. As Coach Lynn says, we need a blocking tight end badly. So the point was, if we go get one of my draft crushes in Koziel, right, at tight end, he's not a great blocking tight end. So that doesn't fix that problem. Right. Essentially, you've got Tucker Kraft who can do both. He can block and he can be a receiver, man. He is dominant, right? He's
no block, no rock.
Exactly, Coach. He's a top 5 tight end in my opinion. But outside of that, you don't have a more complete, so you got to patch that together. Well, Musgrave is your receiving threat, right? If you got Wiley back, he's going to be more your blocking tight end. To me, it makes more sense like what Coach Lynn says, we need a blocking tight end badly. Maybe you key in on 4th, 5th, or 6th round, you go grab a tight end that can block, and now you've got that extra piece there. And you know what? The other guys that you've got in the fold, and I can't remember who all was on the practice squad. Like I know Daphne comes to mind. I don't even know if he was on the practice squad last year, but people like that, tight ends like that, you could bring back and have them compete. And maybe the rookie, whoever you decide to get, maybe they end up on the practice squad, right? Maybe they end up inactive most of the time. That's okay too. Like we did it with Warren Brinson earlier, if I remember correctly, right? So again, I think tight end is a sneaky need for the Packers. But anything else you want to talk about with the tight ends here, Tim? Any parting thoughts on that, man?
I would agree with that statement. A sneaky need. It might not be the first thing that jumps off the list to you as, position of need or anything, but I mean, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt, especially if you're talking those, middle to late rounds, maybe snatching someone up to kind of increase that competition in the tight end room. We can't put everything on Tucker Kraft's shoulders. We've got to have some depth there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. Completely agree. So I agree with Coach too, man, about the blocking tight end. We gotta make that happen. We gotta try to. I'm not saying go reach, but you have to be very, very aware, right? And I see people in the chat like Christian says Musgrave shouldn't make this team. I disagree with that, Chris. However, Wes Rob says, is he tradable? That really does pique my interest. If you don't plan on re-signing him and you don't need him as that catching tight end, let's say that Koziel or one of these great tight ends falls to you in the draft. If that happens and you replace Musgrave with a younger, better version, what if you could trade him for a 5th round pick? Wes, I think that makes sense. And it lines up to a certain extent with what Chris N's saying as well. I think Musgrave should make the team. I think he will make the team if I had to put money on it. However, if you could trade him, pick up an extra pick, I like that idea, Tim.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, like we just said, I mean, Musgrave's a receiving tight end, right? If you're trying to round out the room and get a blocker, and yeah, you could get a 5th or hell, even a 6th, right? We were talking about the possibility of the 5th, 6th, 7th round snagging a blocking tight end if you can get some value. Yeah, possibly. But I also agree with the sentiment that I think Luke Musgrave has proven that he deserves a spot on this team. It's just, what is the role going to be in this offense?
Yeah, completely agree. All right, guys, if you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about the tight end RASs, the tight end rankings from the combine numbers? We'll continue to update those numbers on our draft board and everything in between. Let us know in the comments how you feel about this tight end class. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. All right, Tim, let's switch gears here now. I think we got enough time to talk safety. So I want to hit the safety position. And listen, I understand there are people that don't think we need a safety. I completely get it. We still got to cover that. It's just like quarterbacks. Nobody's saying we're going to go in this draft and go, man, we need to get a quarterback in the first 5 rounds. But quarterback is still a position you probably want to look at because, if Desmond Ridder isn't the second coming of Malik Willis, and I think we would all agree there's no reason to think he is unless we catch lightning in a bottle twice. But if you get a tight end that grades pretty high, let's say you've got a third round grade on a quarterback. I'm sorry, not tight end, a quarterback. If you got a third round grade on a quarterback and he's there in the 5th round, nab him, right?
We had a first round grade on Aaron Charles Rodgers back in the day, and we didn't need a quarterback. We all saw how that happened, right?
I'll take it a step further, Tim. We had Aaron Rodgers as our starting quarterback, and we spent a 2nd round pick on Brian Braun.
Yeah.
Think about that. When people say, oh, there's no way you can go get a quarterback, like, bet me. It's that important, right?
Yeah, and if nobody's figured it out yet, we're kind of like, quarterback university of the NFL when it comes down to it. And part of that draft and develop process is the old adage, right? Take one when you don't need one, keep them around, camp arm, developmental, practice squad guy. You never know. You might mess around and find another Matt Flynn that's going to go out there and help you. You got to keep a steady stable of talent coming through, your locker room for sure.
Yeah. And, Ron Wolf used to say all the time, our plan is to draft a quarterback every single year because it's that important. So, all right, let's move on to safety, Tim, and talk about some of these numbers here. Lorenzo Styles Jr. out of Ohio State stole the show with a 4.27 40 off the freaking charts. Robert Spears Jennings out of Oklahoma. You're seeing this year, you're seeing Oklahoma a lot. And I'm going to tell you, a college you're not seeing a lot of, Tim, is Ole Miss. Ole Miss dominated the draft last year. Yeah. This year, I'm more surprised with how many Oklahoma guys are there. Obviously, Ohio State's always towards the top, right? But Oklahoma, it just seems like every position group, there's somebody in the top 5 where you go, dang, Oklahoma must have been pretty loaded. Don't know what that says for their coaching staff in college that you didn't accomplish more, but a lot of pro athletes here. So Robert Spears Jennings at Oklahoma, 4.32. You got Traydon Stukes out of Arizona, 4.33. This was a fascinating one, guys. On our draft board, I went back and did a little research today, and if my research was correct, Traydon Stukes, he's listed as a cornerback on both PFF and the Consensus Big Board. However, on NFL.com, he's listed as a safety. All right. So 2-1 there, you would think, okay, we'll put it at corner. We went and looked at his snaps. He played the majority of his snaps in the slot and safety. So it was slot first, safety second, and very, very minimal snaps on the boundary on the outside. Okay. So we're going to list him as a cornerback. But if you'll notice on our draft board, you're going to see he's going to be listed as a cornerback. I'm going to light him up blue, and it's going to say slot/safety. So he's a slot corner first, safety second, although NFL.com seems to be projecting him more as a safety. But Traydon Stukes showed up and showed out of Arizona, a 4.33 40 for him. Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon, 4.35. He had a great combine. The gauntlet looks so effortless for him, man. I think somebody's going to get a damn good safety there. Jalen Kilgore at 4.40. VJ Payne, 4.40. Bud Clark, 4.41. Dalton Johnson, 4.41. Kamari Ramsey out of USC, a 4.47. Xavier Nwapanka, if I'm saying that right. No, I'll butcher it. We'll just say Xavier out of Iowa, 4.48. Michael Taff out of Texas, 4.50. AJ Halsey, 4.52. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, one of the top safeties in the draft, 4.52. That's still a good 40 for a safety. And then a Bishop Fitzgerald, 4.55. Tim, there are some freaks at the safety position this year. I mean, this is insane. You have 4 safeties that ran a sub 4.3 40. And this is what I'm talking about. If you're sitting there at 52 and somehow, some way, one of these guys fall and the board's showing them as the 30th best prospect, I'm not going to be surprised if Gutey pulled the trigger on safety.
Right? Yeah. The thoughts got to cross your mind. And, give X a lifetime contract as far as I'm concerned. But let's be real, he's not going to be here forever, right? Yep. We feel real good about Evan Williams. The future is bright on the other side. You got Javon Bullard, a guy who can play in the slot and play the back end. But the idea that, you could be, 1 or 2 bad drafts or bad moves away from having a safety room that we had just a few short seasons ago, playing musical chairs back there. So I would not at all bat an eyelash thinking that, we wouldn't grab a safety in this draft. I don't know about how early, but I could see it happening. Again, not a top tier position to need this year for us, but can always get better on the back end, right?
Yeah. As Coach says here, this is a great point. We're all complaining about special teams, right?
Yep.
You need a safety to help with special teams. Maybe you go get one of these guys and one of these top safeties. Let's say let's go to the 10-yard split now, and we'll see who did there. Like Lorenzo Styles at Ohio State. I don't even know where he's at on our board. Let me see if I can locate him real quick, because I know we've got at the safety position, we've got Caleb Downs at the top. Now, obviously, Caleb Downs did not go to the combine. And I understand that may tick some people off, and I get that. I mean, he was there, but he didn't do the drills. He was there, though. But I understand that may tick people off. Caleb Downs, they said, was the best player on the Alabama football team his freshman year. And, of course, he ends up transferring to Ohio State. So Caleb Downs, hands down, is the best safety in this draft, okay? Then it goes down to McNeil Warren at 24, Dylan Thieneman at 26, and then you've got to go down to A.J. Halsey at 48. This is before the RAS bonuses, but it shouldn't shift a whole lot. We got Keontae Scott kind of marked as a versatile safety / cornerback, so he's probably more of a cornerback than a safety, at least according to NFL.com. Then we got Zaki Wheatley out of Penn State in the 75 spot. Then you got to go down to Genesis Smith at 94, Kamari Ramsey at 97. So when you look at these, Traden Stukes, Tim, as you can see here, second in the 10-yard split at 150. He's in the 105 spot on our board. What if he's there at 84? What if he's 84 would be like, okay, it's a little bit of a reach. If he's there at 120, why would you not run the floor?
Yeah, you got to think about it, right?
Makes a lot of sense.
Definitely. And he's not that far off of Styles there, 1.49, 1.50. We're splitting hairs here on the split time. And definitely Stukes is definitely higher on our radar than Styles Jr., right? Styles Jr. is 232 on PFF. Where is he on our board?
Who's that again?
Lorenzo Styles Jr.
Lorenzo Styles Jr. This is what's crazy. We don't have now. Oh, what did you say he was on PFF?
232 right now.
Yeah, that's going to help him. We have a 580 on the consensus big board on him. So now he jumps to 406. Do they have rankings for his PFF grade on that draft card there? Do you see that or no? If not, I think you've got the thinner version, don't you? So,
yeah, no, I don't have it.
I'll grab it right quick. We'll go ahead and put this in real time, and we'll see how far he jumps up, because he was buried on our board.
He definitely helped himself, though, at the combine, for sure.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Let's see where he's at. So they've got him at 232 on the PFF big board, right? So 2025 is the only grade he's got. He was 539. So that hurts him there. We're going to put it in anyway, though. That's going to bring him back down a touch. So the final grade that we have on him as it sits right now before the RAS bonus is 450.3. So he's looking like an undrafted free agent. But again, if people see these numbers at the combine and fall in love with him, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if they go and nab him, right? So
exactly.
Let's do this.
Another way that we pick up a safety, right? It could be a UDFA situation here.
Absolutely. So when we're looking at the RAS, I'll just keep this up on the screen. Actually, let's do this. Let me get us over to let's go to the vertical. We'll let it sit on the vertical, because I think these guys did verticals. Yeah. It's just to kind of give you guys a little bit of an explosion there. Again, Dylan Thieneman dominating 41 inches. He was second to Genesis Smith. Genesis Smith is an interesting prospect too. That's another guy that the Packers might potentially take. And I don't look at the measure. I haven't looked at the measurables. I don't know if whether or not he checks all the boxes, but obviously 42.5 inches. He's showing plenty of explosion.
6'2", 204 with a 42.5 inch vert. Hello.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, what was his 40 time? Genesis Stukes. Let's see here. Smith. I'm sorry, Genesis Smith. Did he run? He didn't run, did he?
Oh, no. Do we not have a 40 time?
So he did not run the 40. So that's probably smart on his part. Like they'll look at that vertical and go, okay, at the pro day, we really need to key in on his speed. So not sure why he didn't run, but yeah. All right. So when we look at the RESs, I'm
78th, by the way. I found the data on him. 78th on PFF.
Got it. Appreciate that. All right. So we got with the RASs, here's the lead on the RASs, okay? They've got it broken down on the RAS website by free safety and strong safety, okay? So the free safeties, Bud Clark, 932 at the top of the list right now. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, 913. And notice, you don't see McNeil Warren at the top of the page here with the 40 time, right? Like he's second from last, but still a 4.52 is a good 40 for a safety. Not bad at all. So Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo, 9'13". Kamari Ramsey, 8'6". Dalton Johnson, 7'6". And then when we switch over to strong safety, and the way that they've got it separated here on RAS, Jalen Kilgore. All right, Jalen Kilgore leads the way at 9'97". Did Jalen Kilgore? He did run the 40, 4.4 flat. So Jalen Kilgore really helped him out. I mean, Tim, that's damn near a perfect RAS, 9'97", man. So
that's crazy. Yeah, did a lot of help for himself.
Yeah. Where's Kilgore on our board or on the PFF board, if you don't mind?
PFF's got him at 154 ranked on their board, and then 384th of the corners. They got him listed as a corner.
Got it. Next, you got Xavier out of Iowa, 9'95". How would you say that name? Wankpa?
Where are we at?
I didn't even on the screen for you, is it? Let me see if I can find it over here for you. I need help with this. This one right here, Tim. How would you say that last name, sir?
Yeah, I think the N silent. Wankpa?
Wankpa?
Yeah.
Funny name.
We'll call him X.
Yeah, we'll just call him X. All right, so anyway, he's got a 9'95". People going to know how to say his name real quick because he dominated the combine. VJ Payne out of Kansas State is a 9'86". Robert Spears Jennings, 9'78". Dylan Thieneman, 9'67". And then Bishop Fitzgerald, it drops all the way down to a 6'50" out of USC. So, Tim, my question for you is, you got the PFF board pulled up, right? Mm-hmm. Where is Wankpa? Nwankpa. Where do we have him at? On the PFF board.
Xavier Wankpa. He is 292, 330th.
Got it. So he's significantly lower. So we'll keep an eye on him. He may be rising up boards. VJ Payne, Tim, you can just type in Payne. Safety out of Kansas State.
204, 245 out of safeties.
So you're seeing these guys that are scoring in the high nines and RAS, and they're low on the board. Somebody's going to go get – imagine someone like that gunning on special teams like Coach Lynn was talking about.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's a good roster spot to use for that, right? You get a little bit of depth in your safety room, and then you've got a special teamer for sure.
Absolutely. And of course, Dylan Thieneman's going to be long gone, right? I think we would all agree. He's going to be – I don't even know where he's at on our board. Let me try to check real quick. But he is definitely way, way up toward the top. Thieneman, some people –
first-round pick. He's a first-round pick.
Is he? Where do they got him on the PFF?
He's 15 on PFF. Mm-hmm. They got him as the 6th ranked safety in the draft.
We got him in the 26th spot. So I'm with you. There's no way he's going to fall to 52. No way. So, and to be honest with you, Tim, I feel good about that because I hate the idea of spending the 52nd pick on a safety. I really do. Yeah. What you want the board to do is fall to where when we pick at 52, there's offensive linemen and cornerbacks at the top of our board, Tim. We go, okay, there we go, right? Worst case scenario, maybe linebacker if Quay doesn't return, right? Maybe you go that route. So that's how I look at the board. I know many people like to look at the draft process and they're like, okay, this is my favorite player. That's my favorite player. I hope he's there when we pick. For me, it's like, please, sweet 7.5-pound baby Jesus, let the board have the best players available when we pick, or just a cluster of a position of need. We can sit back and go, Gutey, pick whichever one you want, as opposed to you got 3 players from positions you don't necessarily see as priorities for you this year, and he goes down 30 spots and gets somebody else, right? That's the hard stuff. So,
Thieneman, though, interesting one to look at, man. Look at that, another Oregon Duck. Reminds me of Mr. Williams. They're churning out safeties there in Oregon for sure,
bro. And that's something I want to do here on RAS, and it's what I like about the RAS website. You can actually sort by college. I'm going to do it off screen here, so y'all ain't got to endure all the ads. But if we go to Oregon here, so in terms of the prospects that have RASs for them right now, we keep hearing these names, right? And the offensive line are going to be performing tomorrow. We're going to be doing a live stream for that as well, guys. We'll bring you all that information in real time. But Dylan Thieneman from Oregon, 9'67", Kenyon Sadiq, 9'44", arguably, top 3. Kenyon Sadiq, I think, is the best tight end in the draft. Thieneman's probably the 2nd or 3rd best safety in the draft, right? Caleb Downs is off the charts. So, but you go on down, Emmanuel Pregnon, one of the best guards in the draft. We're going to see him coming up this weekend. Yep. I imagine he's going to be performing. Another one, Noah Whittington, running back, probably going to be, hopefully he's at the combine today. That's a guy to keep an eye on out of Oregon. Oregon's got several prospects in this draft where you go, man, they really showed out.
Absolutely.
Well,
Especially in the secondary, right? We know we've grabbed a lot of them Georgia Bulldogs in the trenches and, linebackers, but Oregon seems to be, churning out tight ends and safeties, I think, the last couple of years.
Really have, man. I mean, whether you like Oregon or not, they're churning out the prospects. Notre Dame, Eli Raridan's the only one with a complete RAS of 9.81 right now. However, Malachi Fields is going to be performing today. I'm pretty sure he's at the combine. Malachi Fields is interesting, guys. He transferred from Virginia. That was an NIL deal. The Irish went and got him, and he's a jump ball receiver. Like, Daniel Jeremiah loves him. I wasn't as big on him at Notre Dame. You guys are going, Clayton, you don't like anybody at Notre Dame or Kentucky, do you? Hopefully you've caught on. I try to be very, very unbiased, right? Like, I don't want to come across like that's my favorite college teams, therefore they're the best prospects. Right. So I feel like, and hopefully it comes across like this too, I try to judge them harder than any other schools so I can really remove my bias. But when you look at the way Daniel Jeremiah and Dane Brugler talk about Malachi Fields, Tim, they think he's going to be a dominant force, or he has the potential to be dominant at the NFL level. So that's a guy to look out for. Emil Wagner at the offensive tackle position, a little bit later in the draft. I want to feel like third or later. I could be wrong there. I don't know where PFF has Emil Wagner. He's an offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. Of course, Jeremiah Love.
157 on Emil Wagner.
There you go. So you're looking at, what, 5th, 6th round, something like that probably?
Possibly, yeah. They got him 133rd out of tackles.
Got it. And then you've got Jeremiah Love is going to be the top running back taken. He's going to be a top 10 pick, maybe top 5 pick. He is just a lot of fun to watch. I don't care to show my bias there. If you guys seen him run this year, he was unbelievable.
Who wouldn't want to see Jay Love handing the ball off to Jay Love in Green Bay, right?
What a dream.
I don't think we're going to be able to get our hands on
no.
On Mr.
You never
Love.
want to be picking high enough in the draft to have a shot at somebody like that.
Exactly.
Billy Scrouth is an offensive guard from Notre Dame. We'll see where he goes. And then, of course, Jadarian Price is very interesting. Arguably the best kick returner in all of college football last year, and you're going to get a solid backup running back as well. I heard several people that were not Notre Dame podcasters, just national sports media. And we know how the national sports media really likes to hate on Notre Dame for, the reasons that are obvious. We're not going to go down that road right now. But they were saying that if Jeremiah Love did not play college football last year, Notre Dame would still have the best running back in college football in Jadarian Price. I mean, that's how good he's been listed. Now, whether you think that's true or not, I can understand that argument. I personally don't think he was the second best running back in college football. But boy, on kick return, the extra value there, Jadarian Price is going to be somebody to look for, probably in the second round, I would imagine.
And running back, I feel like, is another one of those positions that I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, obviously, we're not going to go up and get one of these guys super early. But, hearing that they didn't tender Emmanuel Wilson, you never know. Marshawn Lloyd is a question mark. Beyond Josh Jacobs, I mean, I wouldn't put it past the Packers to grab somebody late round or maybe a UDFA just to fill out that room.
Yeah, completely agree, man. We had a question here. Actually, that's going to do it for this segment. If you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments. How do you feel about the safety position? How do you feel about the Packers potentially drafting a safety? I am really curious to know. Everybody, fire your opinion in there. You're not going to get judged for your opinion. We ask you guys to get involved in the comments because we want to truly know how do you feel about these specific positions of needs. That's why it's called Packer Fan Total Access. We want this to be kind of a collective group of fans coming together and giving our opinions. So let us know how you feel about the safeties. What pick would you feel comfortable with the Packers drafting a safety? Maybe your opinion is no, don't want a safety in this draft. I completely understand that as well. Let us know in the comments. Hit that like button for us. Hit subscribe. Click the bell icon as well. All right, Tim, we got everything in that I wanted to hit. We can get on the draft board on the live stream a little later today if we need a little filler. I wanted to answer this real quick. Andy Monday, good to see you, buddy, in the chat. He says, what Sheldon Rankins value on the market? What I'm going to do is pull up PFF. I'm not going to put it on screen, but I'll list it off here and answer this question real quick before we get out. Sheldon Rankins, obviously a defensive tackle, interior defender. They have Sheldon Rankins 102 on PFF's free agent list. So the 102nd best free agent. He's going to be 32 years old this year. His PFF grades were 62, 55, and 70. So he had a good year last year. He was the 26th ranked defensive lineman. It's showing his market value, Andy, at 1 year, $7.5 million. Me personally, I would not sign Sheldon Rankins. There's other defensive tackles I like better, in my opinion. Calais Campbell, David Onyemata, Levi Ozarike, and then Logan Hall. Not necessarily in that order. I like Logan Hall significantly higher than Levi out of Detroit. Okay, so again, those are the 4 I like. Sheldon Rankins is on the list here. I just don't have him marked as one of my favorites. I think you would be overpaying for Sheldon Rankins if that market value holds true. Now, if you can get Sheldon Rankins to him for $3 million, you could sell me on that. You can definitely sell me on that.
Yeah, if the price is right.
Yep.
I'd rather have Onzarike, you know. There's a couple of names ahead of him, but I agree. Not completely off the board.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Lynn says, I'm worried about Carl Brooks. Coach, if they go back to a 34 and even a hybrid front that's going to play a little more 34 jam, Carl Brooks had a really good rookie, not really good. He had a solid rookie year playing in the 34 base for Joe Barry, right? That's the only thing I'm holding out hope for there. I'm with you. It's like I was as excited for Carl Brooks coming out of his rookie year as any other defensive. I honestly looked at Carl Brooks like, I think Carl Brooks is going to pass Devontae Wyatt up eventually. And man, since then, he's just went backwards, you know. Hopefully he gets it together. Carl Brooks is one of those dudes that you could tell Matt and the coaching staff love. He's a hard-ass worker. He's everything you want in the locker room. That rookie year was like, holy cow, but maybe it's one of those rare occasions, Tim, where you've seen the best of somebody their first year, and now we're seeing kind of what the baseline is going to be. Does that make sense?
We'll always have that blocked field goal in Chicago, baby. Let's go.
Absolutely love it. Yeah. And as Andy Monday said, yeah, Calais Campbell would be interesting. He'd be very interesting. Really, really would. So maybe they'll do it, man. Maybe they'll shock us and go get a D tackle. I think the closer we get to this, Tyler Linderbaum is the dream.
That's got to be your number one target in free agency, I think.
And Tim, I wouldn't put a whole lot of money on the Packers doing it. You know?
Exactly.
That's what right. Sure. So let's say that Tyler Linderbaum is off the table. I don't like the idea of paying Connor McGovern $15 million either. You know, that's like that's overpaying for, I think he's a good center. You'd be overpaying for him. Tyler Linderbaum, you're willing to overpay for. I just don't think Gutey is. We'll see though. Maybe he'll surprise us and give him $23 million per. That could happen. But if you don't go that route, what I would like to see happen, Tim, is I would like to see them go get a defensive tackle at a nice price at Onyemata or Calais Campbell, somebody like that, or maybe even Logan Hall if the value holds back a little bit.
Yep.
And then go get
somebody in a draft, right?
Yep. I would say go get one or two of these guards. You could probably get a deal on these guards like a Samalo, David Edwards, Elijah Vera Tucker, Joe Batonio, Kevin Zeitler, Ed Ingram, Tevin Jenkins. Couple of those guys totaling $7 million, you know, AAV. So if you get one for 5 and the other for 2, or one for 4 and the other for 3, you get 2 veteran guards in here to compete on the interior to help that rookie center that it's obvious you're probably going to have if you don't go get someone like Tyler Linderbaum or Connor McGovern, right? So you feel a lot better about a Jake Slaughter or a Brian Parker being a rookie center if you've got 2 veteran guards next to him, right? And I don't know if you've seen the video I tweeted out. It came from Elgton Jenkins' Instagram story. Did you see that, Tim, by chance?
He with the workout video.
Yeah, he was doing a little workout, dude. He looked slim down, Tim. I don't know if you noticed that, man.
Yeah.
I could
not playing center, right? Not gonna be a center. Maybe he's moving around.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like, this is really interesting. I'm gonna play it for you guys, okay? And I think it's just on IG. I don't think it's on YouTube anywhere. We should be good. So let's just earmark this. We're gonna talk a little bit about Elgton Jenkins because there's a couple things I wanted to point out here, Tim. When you look at Elgton Jenkins in this video here, and again, I know it's just a workout video, I want the chat to let me know, do you guys think he looks like he's slimmed down or not, man? Let me know in the chat. How do you feel about this, all right? And again, this is over on X. Hopefully you can see it okay. Tim, does he not look slim, bro? It looks like he dropped about 15 pounds. Look at my guy right here.
Yeah, I mean, or at least cut up, right? You know, he's probably just cut. Clearly there's an effort here, and I wonder if it is because of the nagging injuries he's been dealing with. Maybe him cutting a little bit is a good thing, but he looks like a damn tight end right now. not an old.
And again, nobody's saying that he's going to be back on that $24.8 million cap hit, right? We all agree on that. If he comes back, it's going to be a pay cut. He's coming off a rehab as well. 2 things I noticed: my man looks like he is trimmed down, right? And as a center, it's okay to be a little thinner at center. Okay. I didn't mean to rhyme. I do it all the time. But if he's slimmed down and he's in the best shape of his life and he's truly healthy, right? And that's kind of what you're seeing here. He's also got that G on that cap, Tim. You notice that?
Yeah.
Now, maybe I'm reading too much into that, but it would be real easy to go, I'm just going to throw the straight black beanie on today, right? The do-rag. I'm just going to throw that on. I ain't going to sport the G.
He got the G on the sweats too, man. You know, he's full packered out. Love it.
Am I reading too much into this? Do you think Elgton Jenkins might be returning on a pay cut, bro? You think this is happening? And what if he is the center?
I mean, let's go back to a year ago, right? We saw the hold in or whatever you want to call it. He tried to play the game.
Yeah.
Dealt with injury. This year, new year, new Elton. It looks like I wouldn't be surprised if they do get him back on a sweetheart deal.
What if you could trim $10 million off that cap hit somehow, somewhere?
And still keep him in the fold.
What if you did
maybe
that?
You're right. Maybe Big E is the center, and then we do go get a Jake Slaughter, or we do go get somebody in the draft. And yep.
I like it. So if Elton is still your center this year, right? Let's just troubleshoot this real quick. So if he is your starting center on a pay cut, and you moved on from Aaron Banks, and you freed up that $19 million post June 1, I think is what it was. Yeah. No, actually it was $18 million. $18 million post June 1. So you free up money, $18 million in cap space there. Elgton Jenkins, let's say you trim, let's be conservative, let's say $7 million off his cap hit. Okay. So if you trim $7 million off and you got the $18 million, that's what now, $25 million that you freed up in cap space. And now you go spend $7 million AAV on 2 players total at guard. And now you got extra competition at the guard position, and you still got the draft, and you feel good about Jordan Morgan playing left tackle. You got Zach Tom coming back at right tackle. You got Anthony Belton competing at right guard. Hey, that doesn't
find you a left guard, and we're in business.
And again, nobody's saying that Elgton Jenkins was a top 10 center. He wasn't, right? So if the answer to our problems is we need to go get an elite center, Elgton Jenkins, I don't think he's that guy, right? His best football is behind him. But a 1 year, patch it in, and now, okay, we're good there. I feel better about him playing center than Sean Ryan. And there's many people that disagree with me there. And I'm not saying I'm right and they're wrong. Please don't take that the wrong way. I'm not trying to be condescending. But Sean Ryan is a good run blocker, right? Well, an above average run blocker, and he's a poor pass blocker. Elgton Jenkins, what he's been the last few years, is an above average pass blocker, above average run blocker. So it's not like a home run, slam dunk move here, but that just screams stability. That makes sense to him?
It does. And even if, let's just say it's not center, maybe it is, we move on from Banks and Elton's your left guard again. And you put him back where, he's been as close to lights out for us at the left guard position, since he got to Green Bay. So there's a multitude of ways to do it. But bottom line, I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to get him on a better deal and he stays a Packer. Yeah.
Coach Lynn says maybe trying to prove he wants to be in Green Bay. That's the vibe I got, Coach. I'm glad I'm not the only one, man. It was just like, hey, this is good. And I've seen people go, I don't want him back. Okay, I got you. We can agree to disagree, but I don't know, man. You could tell when the emotion wears off with your boy Clayton here. It's like, okay, let's think rationally here a second. This might be stable. This might be stable. And when I seen the video, I'm like, this dude's trimmed down. He looks like he's in great shape, man. Which is awesome. Coach Lynn says, I'd love to keep him on a pay cut. Absolutely. And it has to be a pay cut. Don't take that the wrong way, guys. No way am I keeping him on the roster at $24.8 million. Just saying it can't happen this year, right? It can't happen.
Yep.
Andy Monday says, anyone else here that Tyler Badez, I think I'm saying that right, might get cut? Did he not get cut?
I thought he did.
Yeah.
Is he not on the market?
Yeah, that's what J. Cole says. I thought he did get cut. Okay. Wes Rob said the same thing. I believe he did get cut. Okay, so everybody go double check that. So we may have another guy on the market there. We'll take a look at him, Andy. Appreciate that heads up there. We'll make a note and go get a look at him. Coach Lynn says cut Banks, move Elton back to guard, and go get a center. Okay, if you went that route, that screams Tyler Linderbaum, right? Like if you moved on from Aaron Banks and Elton took a pay cut, you move Elton back to left guard and you get Tyler Linderbaum. So if it's from left to right, Jordan Morgan, Elgton Jenkins, Tyler Linderbaum, Anthony Belton competing with, let's say, Elijah Vera Tucker or a Kevin Zeitler at right guard, and then you throw in a couple of extra, draft picks, whether it's a center to compete as well or be the backup and compete at guard, or maybe it's a guard falls in your lap somehow, some way. Maybe you go get a Blake Miller at tackle and move him to guard. Maybe it's Jennings Dunker, you move him to guard, something like that. Maybe E. Hanacor. I like that idea too, Coach. We got options, right?
Yeah.
And here's what's crazy. We're trying to get all of this combine info in as quick as possible, right? That's what we're doing today. That's what we're going to continue to do this afternoon when we go live for the live stream at what time did I tell you, Tim? 1:30
Central, right?
Yep. So we're kind of force feeding you guys all this combine information. That's going to continue probably till Monday. And then guess what happens? We're in March, boys. We are in March, and it's free agency time. So we'll go back, we'll fall back, circle back around to free agency talk, ramp all that up. The rumors are going to get started. You already got players like Emmanuel Wilson. It sounds like reports are they did not pick up his transition tag. So he'll become an unrestricted free agent, I imagine. And then the Packers can decide, all right, do we want to match any offers? I'd like to see E-Will back. I don't know if he will be back or not. He probably – I imagine he's also feeling like, man, I'm not getting as much opportunity because Josh Jacobs is a damn workhorse, right? So maybe he wants to go somewhere else and get his opportunity. That could be the case as well. So, going to be interesting, man. Going to be interesting. So, again, we're going to hit free agency and all that, and we got to keep our eye on Elgton Jenkins' situation. This to me kind of shifted me back a little bit like, okay, maybe he is returning. If you guys remember, we did a breaking news segment where it was being reported he's most likely gone. So this changes things up a little bit, right? So, I'm curious to know what everybody thinks. Let me know in the comments. How do you feel about Elgton Jenkins? Do you want him back? At what price? What position? How do you feel about the way he looks here in this rehab, man? My guy he's looking cut up. He looks like he's ready to prove some people wrong, man. This might be the best version of Elgton Jenkins we've seen in a while. Or maybe you just hit the comment and say, Clayton, you're delusional. You're being a fanboy. Wouldn't be the first time I was accused of that. But let us know in the comments. Hit like, hit subscribe, click the bell icon for us. We greatly appreciate it. All right, Tim, that's all I wanted to hit, man. Anything else you want to hit on here before we wrap up, bud?
Just make sure the boys and girls out there hit up patreon.com/PackerFan total access, because a lot of this info is right there. You get access, right? We got $3 a month, gets you everything, opens up the whole smorgasbord of info. Big shout out to Emilio. You know, he's been doing a lot of work with that draft board. And I see he was up till almost like 1 o'clock in the morning last night, just updating our PTA big board. So check it out, patreon.com.
I wake up every morning. Papaw Bailey gets into bed early, right? I wake up every morning and I'm like, Emilio's up at 3 a.m. in this damn draft board, and they're just tinkering. And we wonder why he can't make the morning show, right? So,
well, he was busy running that game plan on Madden last night, and then probably figured he'd get a little extra work in before he finally took some rest, Yeah,
absolutely. Andy Monday says, glad you guys are here to get player updates. I'm just getting back into the NFL season. Hey, and this is what we told people. If you need a break, go take that break. We get it, man. We completely understand. We're going to be here every day talking about it, and you guys can just go back and watch the videos, get caught up, right? And jump right back in where you left off, man. I've seen a lot of regulars like Andy jumping back into the comments on YouTube and everything else after the videos are uploaded. So greatly appreciate everybody jumping back in here. So yeah, appreciate you, Coach. Thanks for being a part of the conversation. Mrs. Green says smorgasbord. Nice.
Yeah, I had to bust that one out,
Awesome. All right, one last comment here. Cannonball John says, rather Elgton than Banks. Amen. Completely agree with that.
I agree.
Because Elgton's just going to be one more year, right? And it's like, if you guarantee more money, if you choose to move forward Aaron Banks, it's like, are we going to be having the same conversation next year with Aaron Banks? You know what I mean? Like, if
I'd rather not. I'd rather go with Big E. And if it's 1 year and we kick the can down the road and that 1 year brings Lombardi home, we get this old line together, I'm all for it.
And after that 1 year, if Blake Miller or Jennings Dunker or Maxie Hanekour or Tiernan or somebody like that, Austin Barber, if that's the guy who got to sit on the bench for a year and then step right into Elton's role, awesome.
Perfect.
So, if it's at guard, of course. But all right. There you go, guys. Appreciate everybody jumping in here this morning. You guys are awesome. Do me a big favor. Wherever you get your podcasts, go find us, whether it's Spotify, it's iTunes, it's iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Packers Total Access. Give us a follow, give us a review, and that's where all the content will be dropping there. That way you can keep up with the podcast in real time. So appreciate everybody jumping in here. The chat was off the charts. Do me a big favor, smash that like button on the way out. And again, hit the bell icon so you get notified when we go live later today, 1:30 p.m. Central. We're coming back in here, live combine coverage. We're going to talk about all of the stuff that unfolds today, man. We got running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks in-house. We'll also get updated information on these other positions that we've hit on as well. So we'll see you guys then. Appreciate everybody tuning in. My name's Clayton. That's Tim. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
Here we go.
out.
We're out. Bye, guys.